Hi guys, Wyatt Garland here, and this is an art series I'm doing on the video game Dark Souls. This is the final part, this is part 5, and we are going to finish this bad boy. I'm sure most of you are probably happy to hear that if you've been watching any of the other videos. I'm still new to this whole concept, like how long I want to make like each illustration and what parts are even worth looking at, you know, that sort of deal. But I'm starting to get the hang of it. Basically, no one really wants to see me sort of ramble for 45 minutes, so we're going to keep these videos to 20 minutes long, and then just do, I don't know, more or a lot of work kind of like in between videos. I can do some editing and sort of like speed up some things. That's not really what I want to do, but it may be something I need to also play with. Anyway, the point is I'm figuring all this out. This is actually very good for the subject matter. As you can see, the Asylum Demon is the first tutorial boss. We've been working on him, and he's been tough, but it's just teaching me what I need to get better at and focus on for the continuation of this series, because I do really want to start inking all the other bosses. And that's really where it was the inking, because it took me so long to make some inking decisions, because I wasn't aware of what I wanted to do with this series. But thanks for sticking through and seeing this happen with me. Appreciate that. Okay, so what I'm doing now is really just making this blue a little juicier. We kind of did an initial wipe of color, as you can see from that last video, where we sort of just, you know, laid down the base. But I want to put another layer of this sort of like juicy blue here, so that it can really stand out. And it is funny, because I think I've mentioned this before, but the red demon, or the demon that I remember this design from the most, there's a boss, you fight this boss later on, and he's kind of like a red version. It just highlights how blue this one is. You know, I wasn't really thinking about how blue this guy actually comes to be, but you know, that's his design, that's for sure. All right, let's get a little bit of shadow or just sort of depth for these columns. That would be nice. Just want to dump it in there. A little bit of darkness. A lot of darkness, actually. Very, very forgiving, these environments. They're messy, they're dirty, they're just downright gross, so it's very nice to be able to let loose on ripping up some architecture here. Okay, there we go. I like that. That brown really adds a nice stony weight to these sections. Okay, all right. Nice, nice, very nice. And yeah, we still have to do something about this giant light source here. Not giant, but, you know, like pinpointed light source, rather. That's going to be fun. Really just want to push back these areas that already have the benefit of all that cross-hatching, but we can push that even more. That's one of my favorite things to do when you have cross-hatched areas. Just push it even more. And yeah, let's really push the wall back on the edge of this demon here. That way he pops even more into light. Because we got to remember, these spots right here, they're very shadowy and not very light heavy. I also got a new mic and everything, so yeah, we're getting there. We're learning. Hopefully I sound a little better. Hopefully you can't hear the construction going on in my apartment complex. We'll see, we'll see. Okay, there we go. But yeah, I think I finally sort of like really broken down what I want to do. Like what success within this series means to me. Obviously the painting. I think that something like the last video I did, where I kind of just laid down the colors, I think I'll either speed through that or just like do a little bit of that off camera. That's not super interesting. Definitely finishing it off right here. This is something worth watching, I feel. And also something that I can kind of like box within a couple minutes. Okay, alright. And yeah, something like the sketching at the start, that got a lot of positive response. Understandably so, it's exciting to see this something from nothing. I'm glad that's what got a lot of attention, because that is the main thing I wanted to focus on. But yeah, you don't want to see every solitary little thing, and I agree. No one does. That's why it's work. That's why it's work. Yeah, I can imagine the... Because I don't know. I don't know how people feel about watching 45-minute art videos where, you know, like, a video game amateur rambles about whether or not he wants to use a certain inking technique. You know, I don't know how interesting that is. And I don't really have the means to... Well, I mean, I could stream, but I don't really have the setup for that right now. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Again, I love getting ahead of myself. Let's finish this illustration first. Again, really pushing the darkness here. Trying to highlight. There we go. Trying to highlight what we can do with that. And once we're finished with the background, then we can have a nice, fun time finishing up the figure. I really like the idea of being even being able to see sort of the perch where the crow picks you up from this window. That's an exciting angle, but didn't quite pull it off. That would have required a little bit more foresight. But it's not where... Again, this isn't what this illustration is about. This illustration has definitely not been about hope. Hope was the theme initially, or at least when I first laid down the lines. I wanted to draw the exodus of this boss. I wanted to draw the figure running away, but now I remember that this is a celebration of the actual combat with the boss. So let's focus on that. And here we go. Getting rid of those stupid lights. Really starting to grime it up. Ugh, it's great. Yeah, no, it's exciting how much color sort of actually is in Dark Souls. Because in hindsight, and looking at the photo references and looking at some of the character designs, I guess there is a lot of like really cool, fun color. I just don't think about that when I think about Dark Souls. You know, like, I mean, dark is in the name, obviously, but also, like, the only thing that really jumps to my mind is Blighttown, which is, oh boy, which is going to be just a mess. Thankfully, there's no bosses in Blighttown. Although, I guess the Gaping Dragon's going to have a little bit of a very dark sort of look. But what I'm saying is, I don't think about color when I think about Dark Souls, so that's going to be really exciting to explore. And I want to do that, like having the color blocked out and then just getting to dump on the sludge here, because everything's like, it's like a timeless thing where everything's been rotting and stone and ash for so long. And that's part of the fun for sure. Okay, really pushing this back. That's awesome. Okay, got a little overzealous with this, but it's alright. That's alright, mate. Let me just box it in a little bit. How are we doing on time? We're doing on time. We're doing on time. Whew. Let's see, about 10 minutes here of sacrifice to the background, but that's fair, that's fair. I actually really am proud of this background. I typically, just only focus on the figure, or I have a tendency to over-focus on the figure. Just some crappy yellow to gleam down on our boy. So that sneaks over. And then let's really get on how much light this demon encompasses. Like how much space he is blocking. There we go. Oh yeah, pull it down. This is what I've been wanting to do this whole time. There we go. We're having fun now. I come from a comic book background in the sense that I look at a lot of comic books and I work a lot of contrast. I work with a very strong contrast mentality, i.e. I'm looking to create shape with black and white, make it pop very simplistically and strongly. So I like painting with black myself. I like doing that a lot. A colorist or somebody who's more compatible with color will probably sort of like painstakingly state that no, you don't want to like shade with black. You want to shade with a darker tone, like of the color. You know what I mean? And that definitely is true. If you're looking at a picture just for its color, like, and that's totally fair. That's very rarely why I look at a picture or why I illustrate for the color. That's like always like an ancillary thing. It's like, all right, well, I guess I'll draw it and do all this stuff, and then I mean, I guess I'll add like a layer of color on if that's what like needs to happen. It's always very blah. But no, I'm still working with it, and look at me go, look at me doing this. But you can't take the black away from me, is what I'm saying. That's not happening. It will never be torn from my grip. Okay. Ooh, look at all that. Ugh, look at all that. Look at all that. Perfect. Oh, we're happy now. Look how muddy this guy looks. I love him. He's so happy. And I just get to work with the black that I've created. Really just pushing. And yeah, it's funny, I'm a comic book artist, so you'd think that I'd really like be more focused on using Copics or like markers. And I do like Copics, but I don't feel like that is the direct approach here. I want to achieve a painterly feel with this series. I want it to be kind of like, like grandiose. And I'm not going to be able to hit the exact notes of Dark Souls detail, but I want to get close, and I want to give my version of it for sure. So to do that, I feel like brushstrokes are going to be paramount in the execution. Yeah, because I feel like they can add a lot of texture, and just, that's a quality I definitely want. Quality I definitely want. Okay, alright. Oof, just groaning up the side of his face here. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, I don't recognize a lot of the faces of these Dark Souls bosses because I'm normally like tangled up in their back end, trying to hack them in the legs. As is the goal. You gotta get behind them to deal any damage to them. Let's get a little bit of texture to this door. And how are we doing on time? Okay, alright, we got a little bit of time left. We got some time left, guys. Let's use that to pump up the stairs, push back this area here. Oof, that's what I like to see. That's what I like to see. There we go. Yeah, and I like using the paint to push a lot of these blacks in because, I'm obviously tempted to do huge fields of black, but I feel like that overstates it almost too much. I ripped some black in here, which is really fun. But unless I was doing like a Bloodborne boss or something a little more gothic, or like I said, when we get to something like, I don't know, the Gaping Dragon, or I'm probably forgetting another one that's like very, very obviously shrouded in black. Yeah, once we get to different bosses, we're going to find some very different approaches. Oof. I'm excited for Koalag and all of the Chaos siblings. Glowing orange. I'm going to have to go out and get a ton of orange. Okay, push that back, push that back. Let's go. We got this. We are achieving. Oh, and I'm starting to see it now. Before, it looked a little empty, but now It is filled to the brim with terror, and that's exactly what I am looking for. Filled to the brim with terror. This thing's ugly, man. This thing's ugly. And I left a lot of like white space here because I want to... Okay, now that I've really pushed it back with black, let's add a little purple just to balance it out. There you go. There you go. See? See? I can use other colors too. Look at me go. Look at me go. Okay, alright. Let's do kind of a muddy blue to help out here. Go. I just want to make sure there's a lot of blocked darkness in his feet. Ooh, Lord, they gotta do a lot of work, so might as well show that off. Okay, alright. Nice. Good, 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 good. Let's just push this back a lot because we don't want any of this really seen at all. This is where we're really starting to tell the truth about how much light is sort of escaping onto these areas. Which makes this yellow pop in a very fun way. And that's just my little comic booky action line crap I gotta pull, you know? I gotta do that. I gotta pull that. Okay, alright. Do we have enough time for... We've got some time left. You see, it's funny. I never hone in on one spot. You gotta keep going around on one thing. Let's push this back a little bit. I don't dislike it, but there we go. Okay, now let's add a little bit of bloody orange to indicate the movement down. There we go. Solidify these action points. Just a little bit more carnage. Get a little bit more red in there just to add the focus. Nice, nice. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Get some orange brown. Let's get some orange brown, sort of like here, just to sort of like, yeah, there we go. We can even do a little bit of lighting trickle on these parts. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is it working? It's working a little bit of magic. It's working a little bit of magic. Again, not perfect, but you know. This is the tutorial boss. This is the tutorial illustration. This has taught us wonderfully what we want to do and how we're going to do it. Okay, obviously, let's see. This there. And let's just shoe in a thin amount right here. Just to indicate that there's some light being spilt around this area. Oof, oof. All right. What do we got? We have a minute left. Time for the blackest of blacks. With a minute left, Wyatt decides to, you know what this could use? Just another thick black ink wash. Oh God, I love to see it. I love to see it. Okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. Go. Okay. Just pull that down a little bit. And that's it. That's going to be it, guys. Yeah. All right. I'm happy with this. Obviously, a little bit of a labor of love. Obviously, you know, it's going to need some time to grow on me. But we're going to get through this. So this is the first one. This is the Asylum Demon. And the other ones are, you're not going to have to sit through too much more crap, and they're going to be a lot more interesting, for sure. I won't be recycling the same boring content I know about the creature. Apparently, I can't talk for, like 5 hours on every single Dark Souls boss. Who would have thunk? But yeah, the next we're going to be doing is the TARDIS Demon. That's definitely what's going to be happening. So look forward to that. We're going to have a big open sky. I get to draw that. Up on that. Okay. I'm excited. All right. Thank you so much for sticking around, and look forward to what's coming next. I know I am.